But Dad, isn't it time for illegal ham in the face? But bro, where's the banjo?
Some Cleveland sports shows try to give you hot takes, but only one can give you a big old piece of hot ham. Welcome to Illegal Ham to the Face. Talking all Cleveland sports. And don't forget our Fat Boy Tuesday, where we also ham it up with some fun food topics. Without further ado, let's serve up some ham. Here are the Ham Boys, Fatty, and Big Bri.
What's going on, big fella? Welcome to Illegal Ham to the Face. I am that fat guy. He is Big Bri. What's going on?
Oh, nothing. Beautiful day.
Well, we do have a it's a major announcement for our team and our ham family. Let me bring her in real quick before we boot her back out. But Brown's Fangirl has joined the Ham Boys. And she is helping us out with our Fat Boy Tuesdays and our top threes from here on out. So you'll be seeing her on Illegal Ham to the Face, helping us out behind the scenes and on Twitter and Facebook, which I greatly appreciate. So let's give a warm welcome to Sherry. Sherry, thank you for
joining us. Good evening, gentlemen.
And Bri froze again, but that's all right, Bri. That's a good
okay.
pick.
Yeah, I was trying to stay still that time.
So Brian's having technical difficulties on his side, so you will not see that beautiful face move back and forth or laugh or wink, which is great for him because he's probably watching either Guardians baseball or NBA on the background.
No, what do I got it on? Yeah, ESPN News maybe. I'm seeing Jokic push the Dan Gilbert's nemesis right now.
All right, Justin said hi, Sherry. So Justin.
Hey, Justin.
Doesn't mean you have to go PG. You're allowed to say some of the stuff you say, even though it's funnier. And we talk about hookers and blow on this show.
Well, that's okay. I never told you, but our lab motto was boats and hoes.
There you go. See, she fits right in, Bri. It's hard. I'm seeing his face, and I
know it's kind of funny. Sock puppet Bri coming soon.
Bri, can you hear us?
We need proof of life.
Okay, well, we're going to have to. Okay, we're removing Brian until he gets things situated. So, Sherry, thank you so much for joining the Ham team. I can't thank you enough helping us out, especially with Fat Boy Tuesday and our top three, which today we'll get into here a little bit later is buffets and our top three buffet items, favorite items.
Oh, yes. Very
got to give the rundown for our show, though. Our show is brought to you by Kheel and Lake Erie APA. Also, City Dogs Cleveland.
All right.
Cannot thank them enough. We got a new dog tonight. Can't wait for you to meet this cute face. And he is back. He's back.
Yay.
For now. We'll see.
For now. Well, we had you, Bri, and your face was frozen, but we couldn't hear you anymore.
We got worried.
Yeah, I can still hear you guys. I don't know why. So we'll try it again. If not, I'll shut her down and turn her back on.
I was going to say, you might have to give her a restart, which will be completely fine if you guys shut down and restart it, and then we'll fire it back up and we'll bring you back in for trivia. Is that all right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I'll keep talking. I'll keep trying to let you know I can still hear you guys, but if you can't for some reason hear me, speak up and then I'll know to shut her down.
All right. So we can still hear you. And if I kick you out of the screen, you'll know I'm going to kick you out of the screen.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I froze by now.
Yeah, you're froze. You're good, but you still got audio. So we got a new dog of the week this week, Bri. We do have trivia, which is my turn for trivia, which is going to be a fun NFL draft trivia for you, Bri.
Nice. I like that.
Has to do with Browns, which is even better. I don't throw that much at you that often.
Right in the wheelhouse.
All right. Also, we are getting into, are the guards okay tonight? We're getting into our all Cleveland sports Mount Rushmore, each team. We're going through each team. Now, I did have some feedback on that. A lot of people gave me, the norms. But I have one of my friends, Stubby, reached out to me and said, hey, you might want to do the Indians and Guardians as like pre-1990s and then 1990s on because of the history with them. And I thought long and hard about it because, we do have a different kind of Hall of Fame or Mount Rushmore with those two different groups. But we'll see how it goes with ours. I got a Fatty's on fire today, and I have not been on fire in a while, and it's going to blow up because of the question I did ask. Now, I did throw it out on Facebook and Twitter, who's your Mount Rushmore? And we had everything from LeBron James to Jim Brown to Otto to everything else. It was amazing, the feedback we got, Bri. I mean,
that version of Frozen Bri was the funniest. Did you see the face it froze on?
I did. So we'll get into that here a little bit later. Hopefully, Bri can get a hard restart and get back in here. But Sherry is with me here until he gets back in.
I'll keep you company.
Sherry, now we do start out every show, which with some shout outs. And since you're new to the show, do you have any shout outs this week you'd like to shout out? Friends, family, anything?
Friends. Okay. My dear darling, I don't know if she's watching because she's very busy. Lysandra in Denver.
Okay. Oh, I know who she is.
She's my soulmate.
We did
in a very best friendy kind of way, Mm-hmm. But she, her knowledge of sports is incredible. I'm just blown away by all these facts. She knows about every sport, including ice hockey, which is, not as mainstream as I wish it was. I mean, now playoff hockey is exciting and wonderful, but and she's throwing hockey facts at me, and I'm like, you're incredible. She knows so much. She's just amazing.
All right. Well, that's awesome. You got to get her to watch the show now because
it's just the time difference, and she has two little girls.
It's like 4:00 over there, isn't it?
I think, is it 2 hours? It might be dinner time. I think it's dinner time. I'll pressure her. Don't worry.
Oh, you gotta twist that arm. Whatever you gotta do.
I'll be like,
arm. All right. So the shout outs I got this week, got a shout out. Top Dog Tailgate's getting ready to have their tailgate and Berea, which would be next Saturday.
Oh, it's sneaking up on us, isn't it?
It's still $10 donations, right? $10 donation goes to City Dogs of Cleveland. So go check out their Facebook page. Check them out on Twitter. You can get signed up through them. Go out and have a good time. I know a lot of people are going to be there. I think we'll be there. I don't know if Sherry's going to be there for sure.
I should be.
But there's a lot of people there going and having a good time. So I can't wait for that. Tell Loveless to get a computer. I've been trying, Jose. I've been trying. Hockey is definitely underrated.
See?
The only reason why I say hockey's underrated is because soccer is kind of the same thing. I got people.
But people skate backwards on ice with razor blades.
I know, and there's huge debate when Bri and somebody else I know of who is more athletic, basketball players or hockey players. And it just gets out of hand. It's not hockey players because hockey, you have to have that skill to skate. You can't throw LeBron James out there if he doesn't.
Or could we?
We could. It'd be funny. It
hasn't been tested, so why not?
Well,
he's from Akron. I'm sure he's ice skated before.
If he's not ice skated, I know he's slid on the ice before.
Did he keep his balance? Did he stay upright?
All of us have done that with the hands flailing around. And
you
hit the ice.
I did that once with 2 cups of coffee. Didn't spill a single drop.
I did it with a tree limb, and then I did it again with the same tree limb.
Oh, no.
And then I threw the tree limb, and I started cussing at Bri while Bri was laughing at me as I'm slipping and falling on the ice.
That handled well.
And Bri's back.
I wasn't there that day. I heard the story secondhand because I'm on vacation.
I was so angry that day. It was not even funny. I wanted to break something.
I've been that mad before.
And then the bad thing is I was more upset with myself because I did it again. Not that I did it the first time. I did it a second time.
Yeah, that's where the rage would bubble up. I get it.
All right, Brian, you got any shout outs this week, brother?
Nope. I'm shout out free. I think I'm just gonna have to keep touching my phone to keep it going.
Bri.
So if you see me take it down, it's because I'm getting lazy and I don't want to have to keep reaching up. It's like a shoulder workout over here going like
Well, the good
Pilates
There you
or
go.
jazzercise.
Jazzercise.
Now, Brian, the great thing that you could do is you don't have to have your camera on. So you can still have your camera off and hold it if you need to today.
Okay, we'll see how it goes.
Because all you got to do is just turn your camera off and then, put up a little like B in the background for Bri, and then I'll still be able to talk to you.
Yeah. I mean, that's the most important thing, as long as we can hear each other.
All right. So let's get into our show, Bri. And I got that going on here. I got to move some stuff around. We did that. Bri, you ready for trivia? I'm going to keep Sherry around trivia before I kick her out before Cleveland headlines, because I want her to hear this trivia. I'm kind of proud of this trivia. Justin kind of helped me out on this.
Excellent.
I like it.
Justin, Bri has to keep touching it. I'm being good and not that boy.
Thank
Justin.
you, Justin.
There you go.
Well done, sir.
All right, let's get into our trivia, and then we will do our dog of the week from City Dogs. And today's trivia is brought to you by City Dogs of Cleveland. And Brian, we have a new pup today. We're going to get the banner going down here below right there. This is how you get a hold of City Dogs. Our dog of the week's name is Myrtle. And Brian, I can't wait for you to see this face. All right. I'm not even going to read anything tonight because this face is going to say it all. Look at that face right there. Got the underbite and everything.
Oh, man.
He is our dog of the week. Myrtle is our dog of the week. Please go to the email address below, the phone number, and the online address to get a chance to meet Myrtle. They even dressed him up in Star Wars.
Guy.
He was in a Bumblebee outfit. Look at that face, Brian. You can't say no to that.
Man.
This is getting
I
so
have
hard.
to say, the name matches the face. I'm impressed by that.
And when Beth sent it to me today, she goes, "You're going to love this face." And then as soon as I open it up, I start laughing. That's
It's
all.
adorable.
All right, Justin, you're going to. Okay, Sherry, there's a long going thing going on that Justin has asked us.
Excuse me.
Is a
Off
hot
the
dog?
rails already.
He's wanted to know is a hot dog if a hot dog is a taco.
I'm going to say no. Hot dog's a sandwich.
All right, I'm going to have to boot Sherry off now. Sherry's not part of this.
Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed. Yeah.
I am
It's
so
pretty simple, really. Meat and bread.
Hot dog isn't in a tortilla.
No,
Meat and
okay.
bread.
Tortilla makes the taco, but it's the same shape. I get it. It's
Yeah,
handheld.
I consider a hot dog its own thing.
Okay.
Like that's kind of its own thing. Like I don't consider it a sandwich, but I don't consider it a taco. Like
See, I could agree to that.
But when you say it's a sandwich, it's not a sandwich.
I'm sorry. A hot dog has its own category then. But what about like a Polish boy and whatever you could put on a hot dog bun?
Yep.
We'll get into that at a later
You're
date.
onto something.
Okay.
All right, maybe next Fat Boy Tuesday.
Looks like next Fat Boy.
Rehash that.
We're getting
Now
into
that you're
some-
outnumbered.
Yeah, now that I'm outnumbered, I bring this in.
Mhm.
I see how this is. Right. I showed Sherry this before I kick her off. Take a look at that. Lipton has made their hard iced tea, Bri.
About time.
It's delicious. It sneaks up
I
on
believe
you.
you. Well, yeah, they all do. 8%.
No,
Wow.
no, we're not straight ice house yet. I think it's 5.
Oh, okay. No, I
5%.
think Mike's hard lemonade is about 8%, I think. I don't know. It's been a while since I had one of those.
Really?
Hey, that's the best quote ever. Justin said that dog needs a friend named Riggs. Yes, he does. And that other dog has got to have a mullet and smokes cigarettes and eats dog biscuits.
You know, Chippy's one
Peas in
haircut
a
away
pod.
from a mullet.
Chippy does need a mullet. By the way, is Chippy beside you?
I could bring him on later.
Okay, bring him on later because Bri's gonna love Chippy.
Oh, he has an
Yeah.
underbite as well.
Yeah, you'll
Sweet.
love Chippy, Bri.
Please.
All right, Sherry. Thank you, everybody. Say hi to Sherry. We'll see her later for Fat Boy Tuesday and buffets and stretchy pants and all sorts of stuff. So,
Looking
Sherry,
forward to
you're
it.
going to hear the trivia in the background, all right? All right, thank you. All right, Brian, our trivia is brought to you by City Dogs Cleveland, like I said. Justin, help me out with this trivia. There's a lot of free agents that go undrafted. Your Cleveland Browns have one of those undrafted free agents that turned into a Hall of Famer. Can you tell me that undrafted free agent?
Well, we'll give it a shot.
All right,
First, we got to think of the Hall of Famers. Then, oh shoot, there's not many, but
I know there's not many, so you can narrow it down.
well, there's more than you would think, but a lot of them are 60 years ago, 50 years ago. So I'll have to go to the archives, try to figure out who potentially could have been undrafted. I'll have a couple for you.
All right, Sherry's in the chat now messing with Justin, so this is going to be a good time. I'll try to stay focused. Right. All right, so today we're getting into our Cleveland headlines. As soon as I pull up the fun sounder, Chris isn't here yet, but I still got to do it. All right, so your Cleveland headlines for May 9th. We're going to start out with a very, very, very sad one to start out with. Nick Gilbert passed away over the weekend. 26 years old. If you guys do not know who Nick Gilbert is, he is the son of Cavs owner Dan Gilbert, who wore the bow ties and got us 2 first-round picks. Just keeping the hope alive for Cleveland. Every time you see him on the NBA draft lottery, always smiling, always having a good time. Here, I even said it on our Twitter account, sending prayers and well wishes to their family through this hard time, especially after Dan having a stroke and now losing Nick. That's got to be something very, very hard for that family. So we want to send prayers and everything out to that family. Bri, what's your best memory of Nick Gilbert?
Well, just on the human element of it, it's gut wrenching. It's whenever you hear somebody passing away at 26 years old, it's just, it's the worst thing you could possibly imagine, and have no idea what that family is going through. Like you said, just wish nothing but the best for them. Send prayers their way, because it's something no parent should ever go through. No family should ever go through, having to bury their 26-year-old child. So, beyond that, as far as how it relates to Cleveland sports, he'll always have a place in Cleveland sports. He'll always be a memory that brings a smile to Cleveland sports fans' faces. Before the 2016 championship, before LeBron announced he was coming back, it was us winning the lottery 3 times in 4 years, I believe. And when you think of us winning the lottery, it's not like it was a given. It was, we won a couple long shots, I think, especially the one year they got Kyrie. Their actual pick was like 4th, where we got Tristan Thompson. It was the 12th pick that we got from Baron Davis that became the number 1. So, yeah, it was, just him up there smiling and just having so much joy and so much fun. You couldn't help but smile. And so, knowing what he was going through, what he's gone through over the last several years, it's maybe a little bit of a silver lining to just know that he doesn't have to deal with that pain anymore. And, he doesn't have to deal with a lifetime of going to the doctor and all that, and he's finally free, and hopefully the family can take some peace in that. But yeah, I mean, he's a Clevelander. He'll always be a Clevelander. You can just close your eyes and picture him smiling and celebrating winning those lotteries. And yeah, it's a sad day when I heard that kind of news.
Yeah, I asked you if you had a bow tie for this apparent reason, and I couldn't find one in my house. I didn't have time to stop and get one, or I'd be wearing a bow tie right now, which was his famous trademark, especially there during the NBA drafts for us. So, like I said, prayers to the family. We're behind you guys. It's definitely a sad thing that happened, and especially for a 26-year-old. But it's just tragic, right? When I hear 26-year-olds, I don't think of news like that.
Nope.
All right. Other Cleveland news that we got going on, Bri, the Cleveland Browns have narrowed down their dog search. All right. They've sent out a search for all the dog faces, and these are the 5 dog logo finalists. All right, Bri. Now, do you have a preferred choice in this one?
I think I do.
Okay.
So my preferred choice, I think, is probably the one in the top left.
Okay.
Without really giving any great answer or detail on why it is, I think it just maybe aesthetically is most pleasing for me. I would say my least favorite is the one in the bottom right. I think it's just maybe too dark.
Too dark.
It's hard to really see what's going on. To me, it almost looks like the character, the bad guy from Stranger Things this past season. It really doesn't look like a dog. So yeah, that and the other ones are fine. I like the one in the top right also. So yeah, top left, top right. Those would probably be my top 2 choices.
All right. Top right for Chris, he said. Top left or Murtaugh. I get that one. Top left is Sherry's favorite. Bottom right is my favorite. I know it's a little bit darker, but
it doesn't even look like it. It doesn't look like a dog. It looks like Chewbacca or something. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Explain why that's your favorite.
Well, they actually broke it down on Browns fan only group page. I don't know who did it, but there's pieces of Ohio in it. So, like on the left ear is the state of Ohio. On the right, our eyebrow is the Browns helmet. The Guardian Tower is in the mouth. A guitar pick is down at the bottom for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You have the brown stripe right down the middle, which is that white stripe. They also have the spikes, which they or those as the key tower. So, like, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes in that one. I know it's dark, but I just like the look of that one. I don't know. I think the other ones look a little too cartoony.
Sure.
To me, but I think that one's almost like a real kind of just like it looks like it could be a real dog's face. If it brightened up a little bit, like the one up there in the top left that you like, Bri, I would go a little bit brighter. But I think what it is that right side of or the left side of the face or whatever it is just too dark. If it was the same color as the other side, I think it would have been good. Casey's
I
here.
could listen to that. Yeah, Casey likes the one you like, huh?
But they're all good. And no matter what, it's going to be a great logo. I mean, it's for t-shirts and hats. So you can't have,
sure.
Casey said, get rid of the shadow effect and it's a go. Yeah. If you get rid of that shadow effect.
I think it's kind of, like you were saying, you were pointing out all the detail stuff, which you really don't know when you first look at it. But I think that's kind of maybe more of a thing. Like you hear it the first time, you're like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then the second time, all right, it's not bad. But I feel like it's kind of almost like having the Cleveland across your chest on your jersey. Like it's cool for first couple times. You're like, represent Cleveland, put it across your chest. But then over time, you're just like, you just kind of look past it and you say, it loses its meaning after a while. But if you think it looks the coolest, I'm not going to tell you otherwise. It's obviously they picked the 5 best ones, so some people are going to love each one of them. And I guess what it's going to a vote, and they're going to decide based solely on the vote.
Yes, supposedly. We'll see what happens, but at that point in time, they can rig the vote, just like U.S.
Right.
government. So all right.
Or the NHL draft last night,
Or that.
See, there you go, Pat. There you go, Pat. Talking
Look
about
at
NHL for you.
Talking about the NHL draft being rigged. Didn't see that.
How about it?
All right, Brian. The next item up on the ticket for your Cleveland headlines. Brian, are the guards okay? I know it's spring, and I know this is like a little overreaction at the beginning, but Brian, they are like the worst home run hitting team. All right, for one, the offense is just sputtering. Nobody's even hitting now. And probably as I'm speaking this, we're probably winning 9-0 against the Tigers as we're talking. But I'm kind of concerned, Brian. I mean, not like a lot of concern, but just mildly concerned. I know it's not time to panic yet, but I think some things need to be shaken up.
I mean, I guess it depends on what your expectations are of this team. If you just want them to compete for the playoffs or maybe make it into the playoffs, they can still do that. They're in a terrible division. They could start getting stuff together in the next month. Heck, they could play 500 baseball until beginning of August and then kind of turn it on and still find a way to make the playoffs. So, I don't know if you want to panic now. It's a 162 game season. But I tell you one thing, they're a terrible watch. Why would anybody want to watch this team? And, I want to stop short of calling them an embarrassment because apparently they're kind of right where they were last year about this time. But it's not fun to watch them. Nobody wants to go see you, maybe, if you're lucky, put up 2 or 3 runs. So I think, honestly, obviously the season could go in many different directions, but this team to me kind of looks like the team from last year, to where hopefully they catch fire and make the playoffs and win the division in a bad division, and then get into the playoffs and then probably lose in the first round because your offense is just not good enough. Yeah. So, I mean, if people are okay with that, then yeah, it's going to be a fun ride for you. But me, I typically, my expectations are do better than what you did last year. That's why, the Cavs season, I guess, maybe was a success if you look at it in those terms because we made it to the playoffs this year. But for me, the Guardians, you have to win a series. And, I just, at this point, I don't know how you possibly could with this offense. I don't know. It's very frustrating to even talk about them, to be honest. It's kind of like the Cavs. They just leave a terrible taste in your mouth. And I tell myself, and I honestly know that it's okay. They could be fine. They just need to get hot for 2-week stretch or go on a run here for 10 games and they'll be fine. They'll be near first place, and they just beat the Twins 2 out of 3. But deep down, I know, like, this team can't score runs, So how are we going to be expected to beat some of the best teams in the American League? And what's frustrating to me is just it feels like a long death march. The whole season just feels like a long death march. Like, hey, if we do everything we're supposed to and we make the playoffs, let's throw a giant party. But you're not going to compete with some of the best teams in the American League. Even look at this season. It makes me go back to last year's series against the Yankees, and it's like, okay, some people tell you we had a 2-1 lead, and we really had a chance of winning that series. But me, maybe I'm just a pessimist. I'm like, you won one game 1-0 in 15 innings. It took you 15 innings to score 1 run. And you got lucky that you had such a tremendous pitching performance. You can't expect to do that all the time. So I don't. It's just it's a hard sell for me. It's you need Bieber to be spectacular. You need McKenzie to be spectacular. You need Quantrill to be spectacular. You need your bullpen to be spectacular. And maybe if all that stuff happens, maybe you can win the division and have a chance in the playoffs. But I mean, this team needs everything to go right for them. And I get sick of hearing people talk about it's 162 games, and just wait till the warmer weather. They'll be fine. I'm sick of waiting for it, and there'll come a time, probably in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, where I'll come on here and say, "Oh man, they've won 5 of 6 games. They won 7 of 9 games. They're really turning it on." I don't know. It's hard for me to get too high or too low on the regular season. It's just
too long. It's too long.
Too long. Yeah, it's a roller coaster the whole time. Like I'm telling you, in 3 weeks we could be talking about a completely different team.
Now, I do have to add on to the one thing that you were talking about, with being like the pessimist because, we don't have the hitting, we don't have the power or anything like that. I think when you think that way, I think the other people are thinking 2016. We really didn't have the bats. We didn't have the power, but we had the pitching. And the pitching got us all the way to the World Series, Bri. And I think that's what, I think that's why people are on the other side going, well, all we need to do is score a couple runs and then we start winning series. And I think that run of 2016 kind of spoiled a lot of people with that kind of pitching because that pitching was elite between Kluber, between Cody Allen, and my God, I'm still forgetting him because he's out of the majors now.
Andrew Miller.
Between those three, it was, and then Cookie evolving to where he was at. But I think that's why everybody's expectation is a little bit higher because you do have a legit pitching staff. And the pitching staff hasn't done horrible. Like the pitching staff has done enough. I mean, you've won, I don't know how many, like 1-run games. That's like they did the stat of like they played so many games and like 70% of them all have been like 1-run or 2-run games. So you've been in every game. It just sucks that you can't just get over, and they just need to get some hits, especially with people in people on base. I mean, they get 2 people on base and then just something stupid happens and they just can't figure it out. Now, I do have to ask, Brian, did you see the video last night of the guy trying to steal second and the perfect pinpoint accuracy of our catcher who hit him right in the McNuggets as he was stealing second?
I suppose I heard about it. I didn't see the clip, no.
He was sliding into second base, Bri, got hit in the McNuggets. Jimenez caught it and tagged him out.
That's why you wear a cup.
Yeah. Case said took it right in the pills. I even put up the meme. I put up the GIF last night. You always got to protect the McNuggets.
Ugh.
Oh man,
that's not a good time, especially getting out. That's a double whammy.
Let's see here. Ike had more hits on Tina than the Guards had against bad teams. Here we go.
Whoa, boy!
Yeah, wow, coming in hot on that one. All right, so Bri, we'll get off of Guards. We're getting into our Mount Rushmore now of all Cleveland sports teams, and we have.
One last thing on and I don't even know if it's about the Guardians, but it's just. It's more about a baseball thing. In baseball, thankfully, and the reason I'm not completely giving up on the Guardians is because baseball and hockey is a lot like this as well. You just have to get hot at the right time. So, if they're mediocre for 3 months, 4 months out of the year, and then they just turn it on and you get hot in October, you can win a championship. Hockey is the same way. You get a hot goalie. Like football and basketball, I mean, pretty much the best teams make it to the championships, unless there's an injury like Giannis this past year, or if Pat Mahomes got seriously injured, then that kind of throws a wrench into it. But for the most part, the Chiefs, And then the Eagles, 2 best teams all year long. They make it to the NBA or the Super Bowl. And the Warriors, all these years, even though they don't take the regular season serious, they turn it on and they make it to the NBA championship. Baseball's a little different. I mean, like I said, if McKenzie, if Quantrill, and if Bieber start pitching out of their minds, all you're going to need is 2-3 runs, which this offense has proven that they can give you. But so that's why I hold out a little bit of hope, because just get hot at the right time and make a run. And if you do that, anything's possible. In baseball, the best teams don't always make it to the World Series.
All right, now that you said, it's baseball. But now I got to throw in my fatty.
Just get a hot pitcher.
Well, I got to throw in my fatty on fire. Okay, Brian.
Sure.
So I put this out on Facebook and Twitter. Said, hey, everybody do your Mount Rushmore of the Guardians, of the Browns. Let's have fun with it. The Cavs. Let's just have fun with it. I don't know how many times. I think it was probably about 5 that I got back of, well, the Guardians only been in for 2 years. Yeah, the Guardian. What about the Indians? What about? All right. On that note, guys, I get it. The name has changed. Not a lot of people are happy about it. Some people care about it. Some people don't. I don't care what your pet peeve is, but the name's changed. All right. It's done. It's over with. It's in the past. Okay. And if you tell me that you're not a Guardians fan because you're an Indians fan, the team changed the name. If you don't like it, buy the team, change the name back. All right. There's nothing you can do about it. I don't want grief on my side when I'm trying to do something fun and engage a lot of people and have a blast. And then I got negative Nancy over there. Well, the Indians are just, 2 years of the Guardians, blah, 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 blah. I don't give a shit. All right. Yes, they're the Indians to me. Yes, they're the Guardians to me. They're still the same team. It's a Cleveland team that I root for. So either A, get the hell off your soapbox and stop crying about it and just realize it's done and over with and it's not going back. Or B, don't watch it anymore. Don't talk about it because it's not going to change. Okay, now I feel better.
I'll say to that is there's a lot of trolls on Twitter. And
it wasn't even Twitter. This is Facebook. This wasn't even Twitter.
Well, there's a lot of trolls on Facebook too.
I mean, it wasn't
social media.
It was just the fact of it was just a fun thing to do, just to get people to talk about and have fun with. And then goes, well, I can't really say the Guardians because they only been there for 2 years. So I guess Jose Ramirez. Blah, blah, blah. Like, all right, Crouch. Like, really, just go cry on your fucking stone underneath your bridge and cry some more. Like, I don't need to hear it. Like, I'm trying to do something fun. This is why we created the show, to have fun, Bri. And if you can't have fun, then don't answer the question. That's all you gotta do.
A lot of people can't. A lot of people, it's more important for them to be right than to have fun. So, unfortunately, that's where we're at.
Like I think the biggest thing of it though, Bri, is I don't think it would have been that big of a deal. And I was talking to Sherry about this. I don't think it would have been that big of a deal if the MLB just would have came in and said, you know something, Braves, change your name. If we're doing this, we're doing a wide sweep, not just one team. Anybody with this kind of, change it. Change it. I mean, but nobody did. And you know something? The Guardians did something that people thought were derogatory towards Native Americans. They took away Chief Wahoo, which was a cartoon character, which I get it, but people deemed it offensive. I get it. Okay. They did away with it. Okay. The next step, Indians on the front. Okay. I get it. But guess what? That was an ownership / front office deal that they made with the MLB. It wasn't us. It's not like they could have polled us and asked us if we wanted to keep the name or not. It's their team. They paid a lot of money for that team to do what they want with that team. Unless you own a team, I don't want to hear it. And Justin, wasn't me. I think my answer was fun. Your answer was actually kind of fun, Justin.
Let's get into it.
Well,
What do you
Ed did
have?
the anti Rushmore with
Oh,
the Browns, which was hilarious. Yeah, Johnny
you need
Manziel,
like
Art Modell, and all that stuff.
460 spots. Yeah, Johnny Manziel. Who else did he have?
Art Modell, Josh Gordon. We need more.
Josh Gordon. No, Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon had a hell of a career. At least he did something. He was all pro for
No,
us.
he had a hell of 12 games, Bri. 12 games.
Still the best 12 games any Browns receiver has ever had.
Terrell Pryor.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I don't even know if you call him wide receiver, I suppose.
Now, let's get into the Cleveland Mount Rushmores, and then we'll get into Fat Boy Tuesday, Bri. So, Cleveland Mount Rushmores. Let's go with the easy one right out of the gate, Bri. Let's go with your Cleveland Cavaliers. And obviously, probably both of you and I both have LeBron James, right?
Hey, that's the gimme square. The best player who's ever played the game.
All right. Do you want me to give you my other three?
Sure.
All right. So, my next one would have to be Austin Carr.
Got him.
All right. Mark Price.
Got him.
And it's a toss-up between the next two. It's either Brad Daugherty or Zadrunas Ilgauskas.
Okay. Who you got?
I'm going to go Brad Daugherty.
All right. That's not bad. That's a good
All right.
list. We differ. We differ on the one. You got we got LeBron, Austin Carr, Mark Price. I think it's up for some debate. I mean, obviously LeBron, no doubter. The other three, kind of a little bit up for debate. But my fourth, where you have Brad Daugherty, I have Kyrie. I know, obviously, people are it's gonna leave a bad taste in your mouth because of kind of the character that he's turned into the last 3, 4, 5 years. But as far as talent goes, there's no question he's the second most talented Cleveland Cavalier of all time. Now, if you want to make the argument that
I'm going to smack you in the face, get him on this
he's
show.
more talented than Mark Price, I'm sorry. But yeah, if you want to make the argument that he wasn't here long enough, I would listen to that. But as far as the impact that he had, the big moments that he had, obviously hitting the biggest shot in Cavs history, you can't overlook that. And I tell you to go back and watch Game 5 of that 2016 Finals, where him and LeBron both had 41, but to me, Kyrie had the better game. He was unbelievable. So yeah, I put him in there. I feel pretty good about that. Austin Carr and the Mark Price. Yeah, I was debating between Mark Price and Brad Daugherty, to be honest. But I remember Mark Price was first team All NBA with Michael Jordan, so that's a pretty good backcourt. Good company that you keep there. To throw Justin a bone there. So yeah, those are my four.
Yeah, you just blew Justin up. Justin is just going nuts right now.
Oh, because I said LeBron's the best basketball player? I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if it's fact right now, but 10, 15 years down the road when we start talking about LeBron like we do Michael Jordan, it'll be LeBron never missed a shot. LeBron did this. Well, the way they talk about Jordan now, I mean, he went to 10, maybe 11 finals after this year, and Jordan went to 6.
Oof. All right, so we got LeBron James, Mark Price, Austin Carr, and Sean Kemp from Craig. The anti Rushmore, Wrong Rim, Ricky Davis, Carlos Boozer, George Make a Free Throw Hill, and Danny Ferry. Let's see here. Casey said LBJ, AC, Price, and Lenny Wilkes. There it is.
Lenny Wilkes. Oh, Wilkins?
Yeah, it's Wilkins, right? The coach, Lenny Wilkins.
Oh, the coach. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
At one point, he had the most wins ever.
Let's move on to another one that should probably be a little bit easier, which would be the Cleveland Guardians. Right?
Okay,
Okay.
gotcha.
So for my Mount Rushmore of the Cleveland Guardians, first off, Larry Doby has got to be on there. All right. Lou Boudreau has got to be on there. Bob Feller has got to be on there. And I have got to say, man, the fourth one is the one where it gets me all the time because I'm in a toss up because I want to bring somebody new age because you got Jim Thome and all that. Because Jim Thome should be on that fourth tier, but I'm going to go little Omar Vizquel.
All right, Omar, it is. Bob Feller, I think that is the easy one, and kind of recognizes the greatest Indian of all time. But after that, I was having a hard time figuring out who to go with. Yeah, I was like you. I thought Larry Doby, but I know he was very impactful to the game of baseball, but as far as a baseball player, I don't know if he was one of the greats. I don't have enough knowledge to know that. Same thing with Lou Boudreau. I know his numbers retired up there, but I just don't know much about his career. So I didn't have those guys on there. I went with guys that I know that I've seen. I went with Jim Thome. He was on there. One of the guys who obviously I grew up kind of idolizing. He was one of my favorites. And again, if you want to say he didn't play enough years for the organization, I understand that argument. But Albert Bell is on there for me. Just the impact that he had for those 3, 4, 5 years in the 90s. And he was one of the best players in the league at that time. And then my number 4 is Corey Kluber. Outside of Feller, maybe one of the best pitchers the Indians organization has ever had. And I've seen it with my eyes. And, I know how dominant he's been. And he was just the guy that you could count on night in and night out. And, all those big games that he pitched in the playoffs, that 2016 run where we leaned heavily on him, I thought that you had to put him in there.
God, bro, I wish you could see the comments. So we have Craig here with Jose Ramirez, Larry Doby, Jim Thome. Justin said Ricky the Wild Thing Vaughn.
Sure.
We also had Ed Columbus said Ricky Vaughn, Roger Dorn, Willie Mays Hayes, and Jake Taylor. And then Casey chimed in with Lou effing Brown. We're getting them all in here. This is actually getting kind of comical. All right, so now we will switch over to our Cleveland Browns, Brian. And I kind of figured you and I both have Jim Brown in there, correct?
You have to. Absolutely.
You got to. Next, I have Otto Graham.
Again, second free space. You have to have those two, otherwise it's not legit.
Next, I got Lou the Toe Garoza.
All right.
And then I got the Hoff, Joseph Thomas.
Yep, very good, very fair. Certainly guys that are historic in the Browns organization, and if you're a Browns fan, you know about all those guys.
Now, honorable mention. I do have to, because I didn't throw any coaches in there. Tito should go in for the Guardians.
Right.
And then Paul Brown should be in there for also as an honorable mention for the that one.
Yep, absolutely. So as far as the Browns go, we only differ on one. We both have Jim Brown, Otto Graham, Joe Thomas, because you feel like you have to. I don't know if you have to, but flat out, he was one of the best at his positions for a decade in the NFL, where today's NFL is more competitive than ever. So I think you have to put Joe Thomas in there. I did not put Lou Groza in there. I thought about it. It was kind of between him and Joe Thomas. Like, I don't want to put 2 tackles in there, 2 offensive linemen. So, yeah, I know exactly what Joe Thomas has done, and that he was the best at his position for all those years. So, believe it or not, my number 4 is a guy who's still building his resume. I got Myles Garrett on there. I think right now he's probably the best defensive player the Browns organization has ever seen. And he still hopefully has 3, 4, 5 years left of his prime. So I don't want to say I'm projecting, but most people would say he's the best defensive player in Browns history. So why not put him on there?
All right. So in the comments, we have Craig saying Joe Thomas, Jim Brown, Otto Graham, and Hanford Dixon. Casey said the GOAT, Otto, Off, and Paul Brown. Ed, I love you. Ed said the Thriller, Michael Jackson, Tommy Vardell, Mike Tomczak, and Leroy Horde.
Go Blue, Leroy Horde, my guy.
He said he'll accept Ozzy as well. Sherry is going with Swagger Jr. You don't want to go with Swagger. You know, he had a rough life. He had to live through all those losses. At least Swagger Jr. got to see a playoff game. And Sherry's laughing in the background, which I made her laugh. So I'm good on that one. But I mean, anybody can go different ways with this, Bri. It's a fun topic to hit while we're in the off season. And what we should do is next time we do this, Bri, keep it kind of current. You know, instead of going all the way in the past, we'll do like the past 10 years. Past 10 years, what do you got? And see if anything's, things will change. But see if we got anybody new. But I do love your Corey Kluber with the Indians because, man, if you ever, I know during the World Series, it wasn't his greatest start in the world, but man, it seemed like every time that guy touched the rubber, you were going to get at least 12 strikeouts in almost a complete game unless something really bad happened.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let me give credit quickly to somebody that just brought up Ozzie Newsome in the comments, because that was somebody maybe that I didn't consider as much as I should. I think he deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore. If you put him on there, I'd probably take Myles Garrett. If you wanted to put Ozzie Newsome on there, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I just felt like all these offensive guys give me a defensive guy, so that's why Myles is on there.
All right, Bri. Well, guess what, buddy? It's time to switch gears. You ready?
Let's do it.
And now it's time for Fat Boy Tuesday.
And with Fat Boy Tuesday, we welcome in Sherry, who is contributing now on Illegal Ham to the Face. Welcome on in, Sherry.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sitting behind the scenes, laughing and having fun with us. All right, so today we're going to do the trivia before we start into Fat Boy Tuesday, so I do not forget it later on. Now, Sherry, you heard the question. Do you have an answer for the question that I'm about to repeat? Because I don't think Casey was in here when I actually said it. So I did not, Justin, I'm not bringing up that right now. Next time, do Mount Busmore. Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Now we're talking.
Casey.
He's coming in hot. He's coming in real hot.
We're gonna bring Casey on for that one. I mean,
he came up.
All right, write it down, Brian. Brian, put it in the
notes.
There'd
be way too many Cleveland Browns on that. That would be the toughest one to narrow it down to 4.
We're gonna need a bigger mountain.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to need to be the Rockies. All right, I wrote it down in the notes. Thank you, Casey, for that. Wonderful. That's going to be a great nut. That'll be a great show. Can't wait for that one. All right, so the question I asked Bri is a lot of undrafted free agents going to have great careers. Kurt Warner, for example. Tony Romo, who is an undrafted free agent. That you think Tony Romo is a Hall of Famer or no, Bri?
I got to think no. What's that? Borderline? Yeah, Hall of very good. But he just didn't do enough in the playoffs.
If he would have held on to that snap, he must have been eating popcorn that day.
We'll never know.
Never know. But, Bri, there is one that the Cleveland Browns signed that turned into a Hall of Famer. Can you name that player?
Golly. This is tough. The first name that I wrote down that came to mind was an offensive lineman, and it was a guy who got in not too long ago, in this century, at least 15 years ago, maybe. Yeah, I'll say Gene Hickerson.
You are wrong. Which this is a guy that you informed me about a very, very long time ago.
Marion
Brian.
Motley?
Marion Motley was a
Really?
undrafted free agent and ended up to become a Hall of Famer.
Did they have to draft back then? What? Yeah, because he had to be drafted 40s, maybe early 50s.
They did. I mean,
Wow.
Remember Jim Brown was drafted?
Yeah, that's true. Mid 50s, I guess. Jim Brown.
Little nugget. Thank you, Justin, for that little nugget.
Well done. Yeah, one of the best Brown. I mean, honestly, he could be in the discussion for Brown's Mount Rushmore if we're talking about all the way back to 46. He was.
Oh yeah.
He was a stud. He was one of the best running backs. He probably gets overshadowed a little bit by Jim Brown, but he was a dog.
Yeah, Justin sent me an article with the top 30 best ever undrafted free agents, and he was like number 8.
Wow. Yep. Well deserved.
Number 1 was Kurt Warner, of course.
Yep. True American story. He is awesome.
All right, well, we are done with trivia. That is all done, which is brought to you by City Dogs of Cleveland. And I got to bring it up one time before we start talking fat stuff. Adopt this dog. Look at that face. Adopt that dog. His name's Murtaugh. Okay. All right, let's have some fun now. Let's do some Fat Boy Tuesday. All right, Sherry.
Yes.
You brought up buffets. All right. What are we talking about here? What do you got for us?
Okay. I'm trying to think. Do you two, I'm going to go with Fatty first. Do you remember the first buffet you've ever gone to?
Now, this is going to be fun for me because it takes me back to childhood memories of playing Little League Baseball, pitch coach. Pizza Hut was the first ever buffet that I went to. And this is when you could actually sit down, and when Pizza Hut didn't deliver, you actually had to go to Pizza Hut, sit down in Pizza Hut and get pizza. So that was probably my first buffet ever. If it wasn't that, it was probably Shoney's.
Oh, Shoney's.
Oh, loved Shoney's. Just talking about them the other day.
All right.
So
Brian, what about you?
Yeah, Brian, what about you?
My first buffet, believe it or not, was it was in Brunswick. My family owned the apple farm there, Mapleside, and they would do breakfast buffets with Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. So I was probably, maybe 4 or 5 years old, going through the breakfast buffet. So yeah, that was one that I went to frequently until I was 10, 12 years old. And then, yeah, like Fatty was saying, Shoney's, loved Shoney's. Ponderosa was a big one. They had one in Brunswick too. So those are the early memories there.
All right. So you said you got more questions for us, right?
Sure. I sure do. Okay. Could you, just very quickly off the top of your head, do a buffet power ranking? You only get 3 slots.
Ooh, buffet power ranking. All right. Number 3, I'm going to go with Shoney's because it's really good.
So good.
Number 2, any kind of Chinese buffet. Doesn't matter which one it is.
I was hoping you would say that.
Chinese buffet, any one of
Oh,
those.
there you go. Yep.
And Bri, I don't know if you've ever had it, but number 1 is the Amish buffet down in Millersburg.
They're Dutchmen.
They're
Dutchmen?
Yep, they're Dutchmen.
Yeah. Good call. Yeah.
All right, Brian, what about your power ranking, bud?
Yeah, top 3 power ranking.
I'm with you. You got to put some sort of Chinese buffet in there. So I'll put that at 3. There's one down here in Medina called Dragon Buffet. It's really good. That's my number 3. And then you know me, I'm appetizers, I'm wings, I'm pizza guy. So they have a wings and pizza buffet here in Medina at JoJo's. So it's right off the square. It used to be like $8 or something like that. So I think it's gone up the last few years. But and then same thing with number one, pizza wing buffet at On Tap here in Medina. They do it only on Monday nights. And I mean, roll me out of there. It fit me for some sweatpants and roll me out of there. So
hold on. Does that mean we got
those are the
Fat
best.
Boy Monday down in Medina?
It's busy. It gets awfully busy. I'm not the only one who enjoys it, but there's nothing better than stuffing yourself full of that. Maybe having a couple beers and watching Monday Night Football. Heaven on earth.
There's one I completely forgot. You remember the lunch buffet at Quaker Steak and Lube?
I thought about that. Yeah. I think they still do that sometimes. I don't know if it's as often, but loved it.
So I'm getting heart flutters. I'm getting all excited. All right. So what's next?
Okay. You got your plate all geared up. You're getting in line. Without thought, what is the first thing going on your plate?
Shrimp.
Shrimp?
Hey, wife, allergic to shellfish.
Okay.
If she is not there, I am like a fat walrus just going up the seafood line, just going all the way down the line. Just
every kind of shrimp.
Shrimp, I don't care what it is, scallops, anything shellfish, oysters, I'm there.
Respectable. Okay, Big Bri. Same question. First thing hitting your plate.
You know, I kind of play mind games with myself. I trick myself into thinking that I'm going to be good, and maybe if I get a salad, that'll offset all the terrible plates that I'm going to eat. Yeah, so I go a little salad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably 2 tongs worth of lettuce on there, and it sets me up. I think I'm doing good for myself. I'm not completely tearing my body to the ground. So
you're just losing room in your stomach with fiber when you could have precious fried chicken.
I know, but it's all about my mental state of mind. I think it's good for me then.
But do you double down in dessert?
I'm not a big dessert guy. I usually stuff my face full of everything else, and then by the time it's time to have dessert, it's like, no, I feel like I'm going to vomit. Get me to the car.
Ooh.
All right, no, hold on. You're asking, Sherry, what about you? What's your first item on your plate?
Great question. It depends which buffet I'm at. If I'm at Golden Corral, it's those rolls. Are you guys familiar with the Golden Corral rolls? Fatty, come back to us.
No, we're good. We're good. I'm just daydreaming.
Because they're like those really like good yeasty rolls. And don't they have like a honey butter that you could put on them?
Cinnamon butter. It's cinnamon butter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cinnamon. Thank you.
Cinnamon butter.
Is he okay?
Oh.
So that's the first thing.
He's comatose thinking about these buffets.
Brian is preparing for his colon for the war to come. Love it.
Can't disagree.
All right. So what else? The rolls, yes. I love those rolls with the cinnamon butter. Oh my God, the cinnamon butter.
Yes, yeah. I don't just take one first plate. I take 2 out of fear that they're not going to have any more left when I go up for second. So it's a fear-driven roll.
You can get them to go. I've seen people getting boxes and filling them up to go.
You only take 2 rolls?
Well, to start.
Wow, we got to work with you. Rolls are like the topper of your plate because they can't really go anywhere if you smash them into the mashed.
So they're like, so you're saying they're garnish?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. And then if you do it just right, the butter packets hide in other places.
Pockets. If you put it in your pocket.
No, because I forget it.
Oh.
And then I go in my pocket later and I get a handful of butter and it is not good.
Ugh.
All right, so what's your power ranking on your buffets?
Okay, this is just number 1. I'm going to do it backwards. Number 1 first. Chinese.
Can't go wrong.
Going Chinese.
No way.
Number 2, I'm going the buffet at the Bellagio in Las Vegas. That's a solid
Wow.
number 2. It is the best
Congratulations
buffet.
on your success.
Hands down. And number 3, any Amish buffet.
I don't know what it is and here Juice is here. He said, "Boy, I just got in here just in time for the food talk." Can't help the Juice is here. Like, I don't know what it's about the Amish buffet with their like mashed potatoes and their like chicken noodles, the big thick.
Yeah.
God.
So good.
All right. So if you had, and I'm going to ask, if you had to pick just one buffet, just one, what buffet are you going to?
Me?
Everybody. We got the whole show here. So, Bri, let's go you first. If you had to pick one buffet, I have a guess of what it is. It's probably a pizza buffet.
Yep, you got it. Yeah, it's the on tap one. They got wings, they got French fries, and they got pizza, and it's all terrible for you, and I can't get enough. But I will admit that the Amish buffets and a Golden Corral or something has much more variety. But at that point, I'm locked in. I can't eat everything, so I can only eat 4 or 5 things anyways. So give me the 4 or 5 best.
Juice said, "Hey, it's a good show, but the food talk is the best part." I love you, Juice. All right, so my go-to, my number one, Chinese. Because if you go to a Chinese buffet, they got chicken tenders, they got hamburgers. It's like a loaded smorgasbord of just a whole bunch of stuff because they got to Americanize it for everybody. Plus, you got the Jell-O and the ice cream down at the corner, and you got a little bit of everything that you can get into. And it's just, if you don't want Chinese, that's fine. They got burgers and fries or tots over on the side. They got it everywhere. See, there it is. Juice said it right there. Chinese is the way to go.
Hard to argue. It's just, I feel like I just have the same dish over and over, and it's just with like a different duck sauce or sweet and sour sauce or General Tso's sauce. It's just all the same thing, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
It sounds like he hasn't had a great Chinese buffet experience.
No, that he'll tell you. I'm a simple man. I know what I like. I don't get too crazy with the sushi. I don't get sushi. I don't get raw fish. It's chicken and it's rice.
Like, he looked at me, we went to a Chinese buffet and he looked at me and goes, "What are you eating?" It was like those bacon wrapped walnuts. I was like, "Oh, I'm eating these." He goes,
"Oh no, I love those. The water chestnuts."
Yeah. Yeah. Those are so good.
Those are fantastic.
That and the, what was it? The honey chicken that we had. And then I got like the beef on a stick that you're kind of like, yeah, it was.
I don't know if that's beef.
It's probably not beef, but I'm all right with that. At the time, I didn't care.
And could be Rottweiler.
All right, so Sherry, yours is it Chinese? What do you got?
Man, you see, I'm going back to the Bellagio.
Okay.
Why?
What's so fancy about the Bellagio? Not like
it's not fancy, but they have every like culture of food there, and it's at a higher end. So they have Chinese, they have Mexican, they have American, they have a big fish section, like you like with the seafood. They're hot and cold crab legs. So if you like them warm, you get them warm. You like them cold, you get them cold. You can't go wrong. And they have like a whole meats area. So I'm hands down.
Well, it looks like going to Bellagio.
There's all the bases.
Because I went to the one at the Westgate, and hey, for me, I was actually happy with that one. I was like, "Holy cow! Look at all this stuff!" Oh, and get down on a seafood buffet. There we go. Seafood buffet. Well, man,
people are getting overstimulated.
Everybody is. Do you have any more questions for us before we get into our top 3 buffet items?
I think. What are your thoughts on distortion from sneeze guards?
What?
If you look through the sneeze guard, when it's more of a short person problem. Like, it sometimes distorts the food because of like the angle and the lighting bouncing off the sneeze guard. So sometimes it makes the food look a little funny.
Wow. Never thought of that.
Okay, she took it to a whole different level.
Sorry.
No,
I told you, I am serious.
If I can't see it, I can do one of these. And then I grab the spoon and kind of just start scooping.
Poke at it.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on, what is that back here? I don't know what. Oh, hold on. Oh,
is it moving?
All right, I got that. Here, let me get in there and get that.
Okay, one last question.
No,
I
never
swear.
thought of that one.
One last question.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the open air chocolate fountain?
I have never done a chocolate fountain.
At a buffet?
Nope, never done a chocolate fountain, so I can't really comment on it. Bri, have you ever done a chocolate fountain?
I've never. I think I've seen it. Fondue. I can't remember if it was chocolate or cheese. But I heard of an idea of somebody who did something similar to that at their wedding, where they had gravy coming out, like breakfast gravy, and everyone got their own biscuit, and you get the biscuits and gravy and the sausage, and I think that's the way to go if you're going to do a fondue.
Man, biscuits and gravy,
delicious.
All right,
biscuits
we gotta get
and
our
gravy fountain.
Haven't eaten anything yet today. We gotta get in our top 3.
I'm starving too.
All right, let's get our top 3. We'll close out the show. Jerry, as I was saying, you're killing us with this the buffet talk, because I am all excited. Like, I want to go to a Chinese buffet.
Me too.
Like, you wouldn't believe right now, and just eat a whole bunch of wontons.
Oh, I love wontons.
All right, so right now we're getting into our top 3 favorite buffet items. And Sherry, we'll let you go first on your top 3 favorite buffet items.
Yeah, disclaimer, I will not waste time or space with salad. It is the enemy at a buffet. Bri is a rare individual who has a sound mind, but when I'm going up there, I'm going gloves off. I got my plate. I got my, first things first, the roll, because we're just going to imagine every buffet had those rolls. Number 2, I'm going with fried chicken, because how can you go wrong with fried chicken? Well, I mean, you can,
Nice.
but
I've seen it go wrong before.
Yeah, no, I have too. This is an idealistic buffet with perfect fried chicken. The third thing, mac and cheese.
Ooh. Now, are you talking like the Kraft mac and cheese or like the legit mac and cheese?
No, I'm talking like legit mac and cheese.
Okay. I get you. Brian, what about your top 3?
All right. It's hard to narrow it down at this point. But for some reason, here you go. My number 3 is, for some reason, I always seem to get nachos. If they have nachos there, I'm going to make my own nachos. Throw a bunch of crazy stuff on there. And sometimes they'll take up my whole first plate, and then I'll go back for something else. So nachos is number 3. Along the same lines, I always, for whatever reason, get sucked into like making a taco. And again, maybe it's just the freedom of having a whole taco bar right in front of you, and you can create it however you want. So that would be my number 2. And then number 1, keep it simple. As long as you got good sauces, boneless wings would be my number 1.
All right. Brian's a boneless wing guy.
I am. I'll do bone in, but probably would prefer boneless for whatever reason, just easier, I guess.
So, and Juice said he did a taco bar at his wedding, which we weren't invited to.
Oh man, we missed out. That's
Craig said fried chicken rolls and mashed potato. Justin said pizza, ice cream, and garlic bread. And Justin said, "Wait, what? Boneless? Yeah, Ma is here. She made it home." She said, "Hi, Mom. This is Sherry. She is helping out on the show now. So say hi to Ma."
Hi, Ma.
You can cuss to her if you want to.
Oh.
I do from time to time. My 3 buffet items. Number 3 for me is, especially if I'm going to the Amish, I got to get their gravy. Mashed potatoes and gravy at an Amish place is just hands down one of the best things ever. Number 2. Now this might surprise you if they have it. If they have it, I always have to try the meatloaf. Either meatloaf or a steak or something of that nature. And number 1, like I said before, very first thing, if they got shrimp, I am all over that shrimp and cocktail sauce. And you cannot peel me away from that whole thing. I almost want to steal the whole thing.
Chafing dish at your table. Got it.
I do. Like, I feel bad sometimes because I'm up there and like people are waiting. I'm like, well, we're not done yet. And I'm like shoveling it in like a polar bear eating salmon. Like,
Are you
that
like,
kind of thing.
are you hip checking old ladies to get to the shrimp a little faster?
Ladies. It's really not old ladies. But even like fried shrimp, even if it's fried shrimp, you don't have to drive for that. Let's see here. Does the smoke off count as a buffet? It might. It might. We do a smoke off.
I think it should.
I think it does count as buffet. Wait, what is an Amish buffet? I've never seen such a thing. Juice, when you come to Cleveland, we will take you to an Amish. We will
right
take
off
you
of 71.
We'll take you right to Dirt Dutchman, and we're going to have a good time.
Right on his way. Yeah, it's right on his way.
All right.
South of Mansfield.
Want to thank everybody for chiming in. Sherry, thank you so much for the great topic with the buffet. Next week, it looks like we're doing Bustamore for our Mount Bustamore. We'll figure that out a little bit later. But Sherry, thank you for joining Illegal Ham, helping us out on the backside and everything. Thanks you for
Sherry.
the buffet talk and all that stuff. Stick around in the background. We will talk to you here in just a second. Bri, we're here at the end of our show. We want to thank our troops, first responders for everything they do. We want to thank City Dogs and Kheel and Lake Erie APA. On that note, Bri, God bless them.
Yep. God bless you. God bless America.
I am that fat guy. We are definitely uncorked, unloading. We're out. Thank you guys so much for watching. By the way, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See ya.